Righto guys, our first drama, we're still live, good. The cup getting a bit wobbly there. Today, welcome, it's Tim Orwood from Compass Property Investing here on Facebook Live and also Instagram, or is it Instaface or book
Instagram.
Instagram, whatever. Okay, so we're live on that, and thank you very much. So the rules of engagement are still the same. If you'd like to help us out, we'd appreciate it with a number 1 if you're watching live, or a number 2 if you're watching in review. And of course, please ask questions. Anything at all you want, whether it be now or later on. We'd love to be of help to you guys. So, what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about what makes a good cash flow positive property. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit further down the track. Today, what I want to talk about, well, is a bit of a recap from last week, and we're talking about how the media, they play a big part, and some of the things they write are really over the top, because the media are all about polarising you. Okay, it's all about making you scared of the sharks in the water, making you scared of dog bites. It's making you not buy an investment property because you're worried about, you know, this nosedive. It's always trauma, you know. It's so what they do here, I see an article during the week, and it gets under my skin. When do we expect properties to pull out of the nosedive? They're talking about the Sydney market, because we talk to a lot of people in Sydney, and this nosedive. So we go next. Well, actually, I'll explain this in a minute, because what happened this morning, we're talking to a would-be client. I was talking to him because he'd been through and seen all our proposals, and he was very, very, very happy. And he's gone quiet for a while, and I happened to give him a call, and I can't mention his name. But he said to me, he said, Tim, I'm not going to go ahead because my accountant tells me it's not the right time to invest. And I went, really? That's amazing. So I said to him, what has your accountant, how long have you been with your accountant? He said, well, I've been with him 10 years. I said, what has your accountant done for you in the last 10 years that's actually made you money, created wealth for you? And he said, exact words, he's done nothing for me. And I went, wow. So you're still going to take this guy's advice? And of course you did, because it's his accountant, and I didn't want to stress him out. Because all we do is give you the information, which is the independent research. It's looking at all the plans and everything you need to consider with an investment property, and you'll pick the ball up and run with it if it's right for you. Okay? We certainly don't give advice to people with like, no, it's not the right time. And if you sit back and look at history, let's look at Sydney, for example, and for that matter, Melbourne and Brisbane, they've all come from down there up here. Now, what we've seen in Sydney in the last 6 years or so, we've come from 500, 600, 700, 800, and here we go. My case in point, June 2016, it was $1 million in round figures, a house in Sydney. That was what it cost you to buy. And then a year later, it was 1.2 million, so it's gone up 200,000. And then we see here in September just gone, it's down to $1 million, or 1.1, sorry, 1.1, so it's dropped $100,000. And it's a nosedive. Well, it might be going that way, but it had to happen. And this is where I see Deloitte's with a good article about the, you know, it's a soft fall and it's a correction. It's great, it's just what happens. Now at the moment, what's brought on that is a lack of investors in the market, simply because the Banking Royal Commission. Of course, the banks are being caught out. They're actually dotting their I's, crossing their T's. They're making it harder for people to get involved. So they're putting a squeeze on the investment. Now, if you know a good finance specialist, and we know a lot of them, we can still get you through. But they do make it a bit harder, but it is very much achievable. Don't just go to your bank and expect to get a loan off that bank. They're at the moment, they're in free fall. And of course we've got what slower wages growth at the moment. That does affect the market as well. But that'll all return. So also last week, what did we get up to? We talked about if you had $60,000, we were talking about leverage. And if you had $60,000, you put it in a bank account and you got 4%. Well, it'd be good to get that, but let's say you did. Over 10 years, that would grow to $28,000, which is a return on your investment of 47%. Okay? But what you've got to realise in Australia, you get taxed on your bank account. I don't know why they do that, but they do. So it's a get-rich-slow scheme. But if you went and put that same money, $60,000, and you put it into an investment property and use the system, which is the taxman and the tenant and all these juicy tax deductions, because it's not hard for property to earn 6% growth over 10 years. It would bring you a profit of 316,000. So that means the property would go from 400 to 716, that much profit, which is a return on equity, return on investment of 526%. Amazing. So that's just the power of leverage. And what else did we talk about? We talked about, that's what we're going to talk about now. Eden, we're going to listen to Eden talk, because right now we've actually got to sufficient numbers with our likes. We can now be rated on Facebook. So what should people do to help us out with the rating?
So firstly, if you want to leave a rating, we'd appreciate if you click onto our actual page. So click on Compass Property Investing page, and you'll see the little no rating symbol there on the right hand side. So you just click on that, which will then bring you to the next question. Do you recommend Compass Property Investing? So
Yes.
hopefully yes. And then it'll take you to a little comment box where you can leave a nice comment.
Absolutely. And the comment doesn't have to be long, hopefully positive, of some description. Here's one here. Very honest, very helpful. So thank you for that rating. So we're keen to get our ratings up. And as a reward for you, we are going to put you in the draw. Anyone who does a rating, whether it's good or bad, average or not, we'll put you in the draw to win $100 worth of a voucher, whether that's at Myers, Coles Myer, BCF, whatever. So we'll draw that over the next couple of weeks, and that is good. So just as it's important to put the one in, if you're watching live, we'll tour and review, share our posts.
Let us know if you've rated in the comments
Let
as well.
us know if you rated. That's a good one. Yeah. So we will see you in there as well. So don't worry about that if you don't, but please do. So what's next, Eden? We're going to talk about this cash flow positive property. What makes a good one? So let's rock and roll into that. Okay, this is a cash flow positive property. Why? Because it's in an area called Southeast Queensland, and at the moment a lot of investment money coming here because there's such a strong demand which from the rent, and there's also a very low price for the build and low price for the land, so it has to climb up. This from the we'll go back to the front. This from the front is looks like a normal house. That's where these people go in here, and that's their garage there. That would have 4 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms on with a kitchen and everything. And on this side, these guys walk around the side, and it's a 1 bedroom or can be 2 bedroom, completely separate. So let's look at the plan on that, and that's what we're just looking at. There's the 2 garage doors, and there's the entry. So these guys go in here, and there's 4 bedrooms, and they've got their living room and patio out there. There's this big wall through the middle here, which is solid concrete, and it's soundproof and fireproof. Over here, these guys go in down the side, and they enter bedroom, ensuite, living area, and patio at the back. Now, this builder is building at 246 square metres, which is very, very a good size. Some of them get down to 200. I think too small. There's a reason for everything. So if we go to the next one, we'll talk about this property, the exact price of it, and this is a part of a rent appraisal, which what you would get. Now on the larger side, the 4 bedroom side, they're saying you're going to get $360 to $390 a week. We'll actually use a lower figure than that. We always use the lower figure or even lower again. And on the smaller side, $250 to $280 a week, and we'll show a bit lower. And so that's a rent appraisal. Now this is a property investment analysis. I'm not going to go for every part of it. We could do that in person, but it's a bit hard here. So there's the price, $517,480. Okay, the land, $196,500. So when you buy new, you get all the juicy tax deductions, and you only pay stamp duty on the land. That's a positive thing. And there's the build price that adds up to that. But you also get other costs, which is the stamp duty on the land, and then you've got conveyancing fees, and you've got depreciation schedule and interest while it's getting built. Now we exaggerate that because it's all about exaggerating the worst case scenario. So a lot of companies won't. They'll make it look super good. We just make it look super bad. And if it's good, it's got to be good. Okay, so there we go. Total cost then works out to be $537, and we've then assumed an interest rate from the bank, from one of our finance specialists, of 4.7%. Now, of course, you can get lower than that, and you most probably will, but we just run a devil's advocate. And then we're talking here about the rent. Remember we added those two figures up before. The lower scale was 610, and yet the office will still take it down to 590. So you'll at least get that sort of rent. Okay, 2 weeks vacant a year, could be none. And then there's $25 a week from the solar, because on the bigger side there's a solar on there which is guaranteed at $25 a week. Crunch all those figures, all the juicy tax deductions there, which I won't go into. Come up here, then we look at the rent, which is the rent in solar, $30,800 a year. Then you've got your outgoings, which is the interest on your borrowings, your property management fees, your rates. Someone just rang us. Hello. Then you got your insurances and all that. It all crunches out to being a loss, a taxable come off your income of $15,000, and that's what you want, because when you take that over here to the next part of the story, you come up with, if you're on a taxable income of $80,000 to $180,000, which a lot of people are these days, it's going to be $91 a week positive, and that's conservative. If you're on a massive income, $120 a week, and that's conservative. If you're down here between $37,000 and $80,000, you're still going to be in the money there for $78 a week. I would say a lot more than that, because we've done everything very conservative. So that's how you can work things out, and we do that individual for every person. We do it for every property. Okay, so let's talk just in summary. You're going to need for a dual occupancy. Well, I call them dual occupancies. They can be called dual living, and they could be called dual key. Okay, so it's the same thing. It's a single title, which means that it's just, you can't split it up like you can a duplex. You can actually cut the duplex in half if it's over a certain land size. So this is just a single title, relatively new, only been around for about 4 years in Queensland. The valuers are finally understand how they work, and things are going really well. So good to have a dual occupancy, especially when you're going to get capital growth. I mean, you can actually get cash flow positive properties in a mining town, but I don't recommend that, because if you want to buy something in a mining town where it can go up and down pretty quick, make sure it's like your 10th property, not your first or second or third. So that's what a dual occupancy is on a single title. You want strong capital growth, as we said, over the longer term. You want the land, like I said, in southeast Queensland is very low priced. You're going to get a great yield and great return. We can get a better yield than where we just looked at. That was in the western corridor of Brisbane. You'll pay a bit more for the land, but you're going to get a stronger yield. So it's all good up here in Queensland at the moment. You've got rent demand, quality builder, because look, I can put you with cheap builders, I just don't prefer to have the headaches. So you've got to go for the quality builder. And how do you find that out? Just experience. And knowing who's who in the zoo, and a quality builder is important. Master plan communities, if possible, because there's always growth coming there, as we touched on last week. Be quick if you want to get a cash flow positive property. One, everyone wants them. Two, the councils in Queensland are actually realising they can actually charge more headworks, just like they do with the duplex. So certain councils, the Logan Shire councils, actually ask for more headworks. The west suburbs haven't yet, but I dare say down the track they will. And of course, if you want to have all your tax deductions this year and get all that yummy tax deduction and money back, you need to have your house built, finished, rented by the end of 30th of June. So that's 8 months away, plenty of time. But if you need to start your process, and that could just be a matter of giving us a call or inquiry. What's next, Eden? Oh, thanks. Always good to say thank you. That's what we brought up to say. So I hope you've enjoyed our Instagram Live and our Facebook Live. Please, one, if you're watching live, two, if you're watching a review, don't forget to rate us. Just go to the thing, just like Eden explained, and just say something nice or whatever. And so it's been Tim Ord, another live, and we'll see you all again next week. Take care. Have a great week.